Sorry, just repeat that one more time now that Bag Milk's here.
Don't record this.
Just say word for word what you just told me, Jay.
Are you recording?
Maybe.
What's that?
I hate to break the fishing news up, Yaremchuk, but I'd like to speak about the ice hockey.
Congratulations, you're one of the 13 listeners of the Real Life Podcast.
We just traded a migraine in for like an orgasm.
Might want to mark that down, Yaremchuk.
Yep.
All of my projects are on schedule until they're not.
A member of the Nation Network of Podcasts.
About as funny as we're going to get today.
Episode 243 of the Real Life Podcast. I am Tyler Yaremchuk, joined by Bag Milk and Jay. Wanye is being a proud papa today, so he will not be on the pod. Chalmers is, I think, a busy guy, so he might show up at a later point. But for now, just the three of us, but that's all good. We're going to put a bow on 2020, talk about our favorite hockey memories, favorite Oilers memories, all that good stuff coming up today. We're also going to be joined by Scott Hastings coming up in about 30 minutes to get our betting fix for the week. And we're going to give our New Year's resolutions, Oilers or otherwise. Who knows? The door is going to be wide open for that. All that coming up today on episode 243 of the Real Life Podcast. Before that, though, need to let you know we are sponsored by Oodle Noodle, 14 locations in Edmonton, and one of them was lucky enough to serve myself and my girlfriend our anniversary meal this week. We had
What'd you get?
for our anniversary.
How did you celebrate the anniversary? What'd you get?
I got a Tokyo glaze with double beef. And she got the pad thai.
Pad thai, all right.
No spring rolls?
Yeah, no appies?
2 green onion cakes.
Nice. Okay, all right. Well, like it's an anniversary, you better have an appy on there.
Oh, yeah. Only time. But yeah, I had Oodle Noodle for my anniversary dinner. It was delicious. And then I also had it for lunch and dinner after that. So it was great.
Got it. And you told me the other day, Tyler, Frank, settle down. I know it's exciting to have Oodle Noodle. You told me you throw leftovers in the air fryer as well.
Fucking rights, I do. Throw everything in the air fryer.
I need an air fryer. There's a lot of air fryer chatter online. Bag Milk, you're inspiring me, but
it's a game changer.
I've got a biased opinion. Oodle Noodle the next day is fantastic.
Oh, it's the best. Yeah. I couldn't believe that Tyler threw it in an air fryer, the leftovers.
It makes sense, though. It just makes sense to do that.
Everything about it makes sense. Air fryer life is the good life.
I'll also challenge you. Another good move is to, if you have leftover Oodle Noodle, is to create some kind of omelet, skillet type thing with it.
Yeah.
That plays well the next day for breakfast.
Bag Milk, leftover pizza in the air fryer, game changer. It's basically like you got a fresh pie.
So one thing I want to talk about today on Real Life is I tweeted yesterday that I don't want to eat beets again this year.
I was shocked.
I was surprised.
Shocked.
Well, the reality is the feedback was so strong one way that I'm probably just going to do it anyway. But really? I want to add a different angle to it this year. So I think I'm going to take recipes from people and like throw a bunch of them in the air fryer and just try to mix it up.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Different prepared beets.
Maybe
have a nice bowl of borscht.
Yeah, something like that, like borscht, or just like the canned beets thing is just. I think it's too much.
I will send you. My girlfriend's mom is just the greatest cook of all time, and she makes an amazing borscht. So I will send that to you. But it's so good, you probably have to eat it after a win.
Well, we'll see. I mean, like, here's the thing is that a lot of people were like, well, yeah, man, you ate 30 pounds of just raw beets out of a can. Nobody wants to do that. So I just thought I needed to pivot. So if somebody's listening to this right now, I want to hear ideas. You can hit me up on Twitter, email me, whatever. But I want to know ideas of what I can do. I want to maintain the beets, I think. I just don't know how to execute it properly.
Here's what I would say.
I was saying maybe choose a different vice, like a can of Spam or something like that after every game.
Well, one recommendation that came in was instead of beets, we honor the tradition where people submit cans of whatever, and then those are consumed after the losses. So then it's just I run a gamut of different foods that are in cans. And it can be literally anything.
I like the variety. So
I actually like that a lot.
Would you eat a can of mushrooms?
Yeah, like that would be essentially the thing. So it would be disgusting, and I don't think that I would have to commit, in my opinion, to finishing a can of whatever, because I know that if I open this up to people, it's going to get weird. But I'm going to participate. So I don't think if I'm forced to finish the whole can that it would be out of the question. I would definitely try to eat a full can of mushrooms.
I think that's great. I think there's a play there. I think it's donate a can for bag milk. We have to have a second can to donate to the food bank or something.
Yeah, I think that there's something
nice.
there. Like, I think that there's something to do with the food bank where we can get.
Yeah, that people. I think it's great because it spices up the post game because it's something new to talk about. It gets people more. What's it going to be tonight?
It involves the community.
It involves the community engagement. There's content.
It supports the Edmonton Food Bank, which obviously I really like that idea.
Yeah,
too, so.
I think. Yeah, I like that. I like that angle.
Breaking news, Jay. I told you this Pierre-Luc Dubois thing was a fucking bluff. I knew it. 2-year contract for Dubois in Columbus. I told you before the podcast started. I said I'm not buying it. It's a bluff.
What did he sign for?
2 years, 10 schmil.
Oh man,
that's a hell of a bridge contract.
I would do unthinkable things in the trade game to get Pierre-Luc Dubois. So I'm glad he got inked up.
Well, yeah, because he was talking about trading Ryan Nugent-Hopkins before we started.
Oh, don't worry.
You under the bus for that.
That name never came out of my lips.
The listeners got it in the cold open for today's show. Don't you worry. Or they got a hint
no.
Yeah.
Anyways, that just made me so excited as a.
That's funny.
Yeah, as someone who considers themselves a minority Columbus Blue Jackets supporter. That's good to see. I knew there was no way they were letting him go, man. Like it didn't make sense when it came out. You don't trade your 22-year-old number one center. 2-year deal makes a ton of sense too, because by the time that thing expires, he's going to be, ready to be paid probably $10 million a season. I could see happening. Like, I think he's that good. And at that point, the cap could be going up. There's more flexibility. But anyways, back to the Beats thing. I like the idea of a different can every loss of something. And then that way, Bag Milk, when you lose, there's a new can of something. When the Oilers win, shirtless Yaremchuk.
Oh, well, yeah. Shacking a beer with shirtless Yaremchuk. That's
ladies. I know there's not many of you listening, but wow, that sounds sexy.
Or for the fellas. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the fellas. True.
If you aren't aware of that joke, it started during the Oilers' return to play when I joined the Beatcast from my bed with no shirt on.
That's true. It was very nice. I think that the idea of rotating cans and having people submit ideas, provided that they also donate something to the food bank, I think that's a pretty solid idea. Because I was gonna do the broadcast regardless, no matter what. Just what's the shtick?
Yeah, that's a good shtick. We could have a drop-off donation box with a little brick.
That'd be cool. I'd be super into that.
I would even double down. Carmen, our partner at Little Brick, earmuffs really quick. Anyone who makes a donation gets a free coffee.
There we go. Now we're talking. Now we've got some wheels in motion here.
Yeah, everyone's winning. We're trying to create a circle of winning here with this, a positivity to make Bag Milk eat bad things to come in cans. I already know what I'm donating.
See, we're already started. I think we've in the first couple of minutes of this podcast, I think we've come up with a plan here.
We also need to come up with the definition of what is a can.
What do you mean?
Well, just can something, like, can it be a tin of something? Can it be like, there's different, like, we need to put some rules of engagement around here.
Are we going to ever force Bagged Milk to eat like a can of tuna with a fork, like the whole thing in one sitting on the...
I would actually, to be honest, I would actually do that. I would murder that.
Oh,
I do that all the time.
I guess for a lot of people that's not a punishment. I can't even, if my girlfriend eats tuna, she can't have it in the same room as me.
I'm a big tuna guy, so that's not a problem at all. I would probably do that for lunch after we finish this podcast.
Ugh. Yeah, nice high protein snack, low cal, like keeping it tight. That's a good move.
Well, that's Operation Keep It Tight heading into 2021. I mean, I got to tell you, with me air frying absolutely everything in existence right now, not so great for the waistline.
Chalmers has joined the podcast. Chalmers, immediate reaction to the Pierre-Luc Dubois extension.
Who is that?
All right. Chalmers, Bagged Milk is thinking of not eating beets anymore. Your take?
Do you like eating them?
No.
Or is it like, because, like every time the Oilers lost, you had to do it, right? And so was that a bane of your existence?
Yeah, I hated it.
Then stop doing it. Come up with something new.
Well, here's the idea. Here's the idea that we were workshopping before you jumped in. What do you think of this?
Okay.
So we crowdsource what I eat. It will be a can or, well, like Jay said, we have to come up with a definition of can or tin of something. It could be whatever. I do not have to eat the whole can. However, the caveat would be, if you want me to do whatever your suggestion is, you have to make a donation of some kind to the Edmonton Food Bank.
So
yeah,
one
I
for
love
one.
it. Do you know, like, I don't know, that is a Pandora's box that you're opening that I don't know if you're ready for, because there's a lot of sick shit that comes in cans.
1,000%. But that's the thing is where I would say you can't expect me to eat the whole can, but I will try whatever it is.
Like we need to establish what the minimum is, though. There's got to be there's got to be a lofty minimum.
So like it's okay. So if you were to open, whenever you had to open a can of beets, did you eat the whole can? You put them in a bowl and you ate the whole can. How many like milliliters or milligrams or grams was that? Like
I didn't calculate the 2019-2020 season, but in 2018-2019, I ate about 32 pounds of beets.
That's so fucked.
Okay, so like whatever the equivalent to one of those cans is. I mean, you couldn't eat that.
It's like a 12-ounce can or something.
Like sardines. Like if it's a small tin of sardines, you could eat that, right? Like
of what? Sardines?
Yeah, one more time. What?
Sardines,
not sour bees.
Sour beans.
Sardines.
Sardines. SARDINES.
What else sick shit comes in cans? Like what people are gonna try to make you eat like dog food then and stuff.
No, like it has to be fit for human consumption.
Yeah.
Who says dog food isn't?
Cool.
Well, actually, you know what? You're right, because in Canada, you have to make dog food fit for human consumption. That's an actual thing. But like, no, we're talking about human food.
Yeah.
Human food.
I mean, I like the idea. I think it's a great idea. I really like the donation part.
It changes things up. It changes things up. It gets some community involvement going, and then, like you just said, we're hopefully raising some donations for the Edmonton Food Bank.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. So this will only be after the losses, though, still, right?
Yeah, I'll do the broadcast like normal, and after wins, I'll crack a nation beer, and we'll just
that's
enjoy it.
You gotta have a treat after wins. If you're gonna punish yourself after losses, you have to make sure you make it equally as good when we win. So what's the reward?
Beer. Well, right now, I got a nice cocktail for myself, a beer, nation beer.
Nice. And we used to do Brum.
Brum from Rig Hand. It was delightful. I flashed them, actually.
Well, that's nice. No, that's good.
Yeah, I felt like the shtick needed to get changed up this year, and I put it out on Twitter yesterday or the day before, just being like, would people care if I didn't even do it anymore? And the feedback was like, well, the shtick is part of the fun of the whole thing. Yeah. So I didn't really want to do beets again, especially eating a whole can. It's just too much. But somebody came up with the idea, and I need to look back to give credit where credit is due, of what if people suggested what you eat after losses. And then Jay came up with the idea, well, they should also donate something to the food bank.
Yeah, perfect.
We can do it.
We can do this. I think I like this idea.
I wonder how many people who said you still should keep eating beets routinely watch the Beatcast, though. Or is it people who just want to watch you suffer for the fun of it without ever actually participating?
Well, our boy Ryan Pike from Flames Nation, he just said, I don't care what you eat, I just want you to suffer. So there are those people out there.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, is people will get more invested if it's their suggestion that you're eating too.
Exactly.
No, there's some good things out there. Anyways,
who's Pierre-Luc Dubois?
Oh.
Third overall pick in 2016. Stunner of a pick. Everyone thought Columbus was taking Puljujarvi. They take Dubois.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, he's now, I think he is a borderline number one center, if not there already. He looked like one in the bubble at least. And he was an RFA. And today, Pierre LeBrun tweeted that his age, there was some talk that Dubois might be looking for a fresh start. And that's why in the chat, when Jay said Dubois, and I said, I'm not buying it, I said before we started recording, I think it's all a big smokescreen. I think he's bluffing. And 2 minutes into the podcast, he signed an extension.
So he was bluffing.
He was bluffing.
Real quickly before we change topics, I was just going through the tweets to see who came up with the great idea. And of course, surprise to nobody, our boy Danger Suede is the one that came up with this idea.
Yes.
Beauty.
Yes.
Okay.
So what else, boys? What else?
We only have about 15 minutes till we get to Scott Hastings, and this is our last show of 2020. So I wanted to do just a quick little year in review for the Oilers. if you remember back a year ago today is when they beat the Rangers 7-5, and that would have been the Yamamoto debut, if I remember correctly, right?
Yep. Hell of a game. Remember how stressful it was? They were up like 7-2 or something.
And they almost blew it.
I was away over the holidays, and me and my girlfriend went and watched that Flames-Oilers game, and I got so fucking mad because that was an embarrassment, that game. Right? Because did we get shut out? Was there like 5-1, 6-1 drubbing or whatever the hell it was?
Yeah, that was against Calgary, right?
Calgary, exactly. It was against Calgary. We just laid absolute. I was so mad, like mad at the team. And then go into New Year's, and I'm just like, please just give us a win. Let's just end the year, like please. But I think the ship is sinking. December was really rough. I'm like, let's just end this month positively.
Yep.
I saw that they called up Yamamoto and Yamfry showed up, and we pulled it off. We almost tried to give it away multiple times, but we pulled it off in a 1980s style affair.
Yep.
As Drake would say, nothing was the same once Kyler Yamamoto joined the big club that year. January was great. Mike Smith between the pipes, he was solid, and it looked like the Oilers had second spot really in the Pacific Division, close to locked up, I would say, with the way things were trending. They were at least going to make the playoffs last season. And then the pandemic hit, and then we didn't get hockey.
Didn't Connor go down in January for a bit, and Dry just drove us to the promised land?
I think it was a 4-game stretch there. McDavid had a lower body injury. Remember, he crashed into the boards a little awkwardly against Nashville, and he ended up missing a few games. But like, they beat Chicago without him. There was another win in there, I think, without McDavid as well. Like, they were basically just fine without him, which is a weird sentence to say. It looked like they were going to make the playoffs. Pandemic hit. We didn't get hockey for a long time. I still remember being at a Boston Pizza with my buddies, watching the Oilers game, seeing the tweets that the NBA was canceling their season. And I remember saying, ooh, this might be the last Oilers game for, a month or something. Like, little did I know what was going to happen over the next 3-4 months. But do you guys remember sort of the night the season fell apart?
Yeah, I was hosting the Germans.
Yeah.
So the Germans were here in town, and they were here for 4 games, and they wanted one of the games to be where we go to a bar to watch, because they wanted to get and the Oilers were on a homestand, so they wanted
that Winnipeg?
That was Winnipeg, yeah. So they wanted to have a Canadian bar watching experience. So we took them all the first round. Some of them got itchy feet and they're like, no, we got to go to the game. So some of them got tickets and went to the game. And then, we watched that game. And, I don't know if it was in game or in the intermission when they announced that the NBA canceled the season or postponed the season. And you could just kind of feel the energy just sink. And then the Oilers lost the game and so on and so forth.
I remember the Oilers were playing the Jets. And it was during the intermission when the NBA news came that they were pushing pause on the season. And I just remember thinking, as I was writing the wrap up, I'm like, no matter what happens, I want to enjoy this last period or 2 periods or whatever it ends up being, because I didn't know. I'm looking at the title of the wrap up from that night, and it was just kind of like, this loss hurt for more reasons than one. And I just remember thinking that I don't know when we're going to watch hockey again. That said, I didn't expect it to be, 4 or 5 months until the season resumed in the summer. I didn't expect it to be that long, admittedly, but I just remember thinking, I was like, oh, this is a really big thing now.
Yep.
Yeah. Chalmers, yourself, what do you remember thinking at that moment, sort of when they were getting paused? Like, were you in my boat where you were like, hey, it might only be a couple weeks or a month, or were you kind of like, ooh, shit?
No, so what's funny is I had been talking to Wanye a bit before all of this.
Oh, geez, yeah.
He had a very, he looks at things in a broader scope. And so I kind of was waiting for his checkpoints to check in. Do you know what I mean? He kind of had said a few things that were going to happen, that could happen. And I just was kind of every time one of those hit, I'd be like, oh, okay. And then I remember sitting in my house, and I remember I was watching the Rudy Gobert game. And I'm pretty sure that was that the next day than the Winnipeg game? when they shut down the basketball season?
That was
No,
the
the
day
same-
of.
it was the
Well,
same.
then that same night is when it was kind of that night the NBA announced the season was postponed.
Yeah, so then it must have been like, I don't know if the Oilers game was still on.
It was.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, but I just remember being like, if basketball just did that, hockey's doing the do it, and I don't think we're going to see this come back. Like, I don't think we're going to see it come back because I've been talking to Wanye, and he seems to think that if things like this shut down, that it's only going to keep getting worse. And then, like, obviously I hope that it would, right? I was hoping, 2 weeks, they'll figure this out. And then by the end of the month, I had kind of focused my shift as to caring too much about what was going to happen with sports because I knew it wasn't coming back, and every day it was getting worse, to just like making sure my parents were going to be getting home because they were stuck. They were like kind of in Phoenix, not knowing what to do. And I kind of just like focused on getting their house and like them ready and like us ready for any sort of shutdown, because it was like up to then the next checkpoint that Wanye had said might happen. And he called you too, JR. I remember that Friday.
Called me too.
Both of us. Yeah, he probably called you. He probably called a bunch of people that day. But he called and was like, just do me a favor. Go buy a month's worth of stuff today. Just go do it. If you don't do it, like non-perishables, right? And it was like, okay. He's like, don't like, and he never said go buy 10 things of toilet paper. We didn't do that.
Right.
So I remember that. And so I kind of like, for the first couple of days, I was like, this is super weird. Everything's not coming back. And then it just kind of went into like, it sucks, but it's not coming back. And I don't really care at this moment. And then it was a little bit further in when everybody got home, and then we started all getting bored when we were like, fuck, this sucks. I really want it to come back. And I don't know, man, that's what I remember. I just remember that day sitting there thinking like, this is something I'll never feel in my life again.
Yeah,
where
hopefully.
like just 24 hours. Yeah, hopefully just 24 hours ago, like everything was so normal. To juxtapose that though, did you guys see the headline from an hour ago that says Canada has green lit NHL camps and Alberta was the first to approve games? Have you guys talked about that yet?
No, not yet.
That news came out right around 10 a.m. today is when the email trickled in that the government of Canada is waiving that 14-day quarantine period for the players coming back for camps and the staff coming back for camps. So that's a big hurdle. And
Alberta signed the permit, and the other 4 Canadian provinces that need to, British Columbia, Manitoba, Ontario, and Quebec, still need to sign off on their permitting of NHL games. So we've signed off on permitting NHL games to start. So as of right now, it would appear that we could start the season in our own building.
They're all going to start in their own building.
We will.
We will. The provinces have done everything but sign the paper.
Even like a week ago, Wanye, was saying like he'd love to watch the game. I'm just saying this is the first I've really seen that it's actually.
Oh, you mean you're saying fans and stands?
Nope, no.
Oh,
they're definitely not saying that, but this is
I
a
know.
step in the right direction. Because I thought, the last I had read, because I don't pay attention to this shit. I read a few headlines here and there. But like the last things that I had heard is that like Canada was just not going to allow them to play in Canada.
It's been decided for like a week-ish now.
Yeah, it's been positive vibes for the last little bit here. Everything's gonna be happening.
When you aren't on this podcast, you disconnect.
The paper. Oh yeah.
You, Chalmers, you're not on this podcast, and you're like the NHL news is back of the mind.
I just don't. Like honestly, I don't go to like websites to read stuff like that.
Yeah.
I wait. I have a couple groups, like text message groups on WhatsApp and stuff, where if it's really cool or important, like it gets posted on there, and that's kind of where I go. But do I go on to like Twitter and seek this stuff out? I really don't. I wait for people to tell me. If it's that important, I'll figure it. I'll find it out sooner or later. And the only reason I went onto the Score today was because I just realized there's no Thursday night football games and there's no Monday night football games. It's only a Sunday slate.
Busy Sunday in the NFL. We're going to get into that with Scott Hastings in a second. We aren't too far away from Scott. Just going through the year, the NHL comes back, the bubble, the Oilers lose to Chicago. We know all that. We don't need to sort of walk through all of it. I wanted, though, to at least look at some positives from the year. And the question I want to float to you guys is, what would you say is your top Oilers, or maybe it's just a hockey memory in general, but what's your top memory, your top moment from 2020 as far as Oilers or sports goes?
I'll start this off.
Oh, go for it.
Today at Oilers Nation, I wrote basically a letter of thanks to the community that supports us. And for me, if we're talking about positives and bright lights and silver linings and whatever you want to call it, it has to be Nation citizens for me, because for the website, there was basically 2 off seasons this year. And it was tough. It was tough for all of us to try and write content every day and make sure that there was stuff going on when there was absolutely no news happening. And without the support of the nation and the citizens that read the website and the people that actually make this thing work, there would have been no point in any of it. But because they were there, because they were supportive, and because they were interested in everything we were doing, we were able to kind of make it through, like I said, 2 off seasons with a website still intact that people still wanted to read. And for me, if I'm thinking about positives in terms of 2020, sports is what it is, and I'm glad it's coming back. But for me, it's the nation and the citizens and all the people that actually make the website work, that actually listen to this podcast, and that actually allow us to do what we want to do. To me, that's the biggest positive, and it's not close.
No, well said, Bag Milk. We were a hockey content company that had about 2 3/4 months worth of hockey in a year. So that is a tough year to tap dance and navigate through, and presented a ton of challenges. But the team at Nation HQ didn't stop. They kept pumping out. People kept consuming. We found different ways to engage. Nation happy hours twice a week. Like, we just kind of, real life podcast, still doing it twice a week because of all this. We just started kind of ramping up the effort and touch points with everyone. And, it allowed us to kind of get through this. So, if we can weather this storm, I think what we've been able to do is really kind of strengthen the foundation of this as a business. And I'm very excited for the prospects of the new year, because we know we're going to have a hockey season. And, we know vaccines are going to start showing up. So, doing things within the calendar year of 2021, again, like throwing an event or doing travel, that's all a possibility this year. And just that alone, knowing that could happen, or doing the staycation like we've been talking about, that's all positive vibes. For me, I'll bring it to Bag Milk. That is the number one. But for me, it's a few things. Like, I'll keep it to hockey. And it's all around the Battle of Alberta.
Okay.
Battle of Alberta is such a sense of identity for us that's been not existent for a long time. And this past season, fuck me, was that awesome. Like, we had really when there was the goalie fight, I stood up. I'm like, the guys are gonna fight. I stood up out of my couch and I'm yelling at the TV, and I'm like those are that's a crazy moment to get me to go and do that. And it's so memorable. That ties into the next Battle of Alberta, when we had the Finns down in Calgary. This is when Kachuk was taking liberties on Cassian, and then the next game, the big touted bout was against Calgary, where it was a few of us got together and dressed up in turtle costumes with Kachuk name bars on the back, and went and stormed Rogers Place early, and just took 9 million photos, and went down to the pregame skate and got in Lucic's face, and he's fucking shaking his head at us, and Giordano won't even give us any kind of attention, even though he's looking at us but not acknowledging us, and just the reaction we were creating. That was so much fucking fun. But that goes back to the Battle of Alberta ramping up again, and it's so awesome as an Oilers fan to have that back there. So much so that I was willing to dress up as a turtle and go to a hockey game. That to me is what being a sports fan is. Going to those levels to yes, enjoyment for yourself, but for the enjoyment of others and all that stuff. That was I think it was a Wednesday night, that game or something. And God, that was so memorable. So just Battle of Alberta, the fact is back. The fact that we're gonna have 10 of them this year, there's gonna be something. I read an article. I don't know I can't remember who it was from. It might have been Spectre. I don't know. But how Markstrom's a bigger goalie than Mike Smith, and he's also don't count out the fact that like Markstrom might come and get retribution against Mike Smith.
Good luck.
To keep it going. Well, hey, bring it on. I love it.
Yeah.
But like, it's just so good. It just gets you up. So Battle of Alberta for me, all of that, all the storyline, all the different games, all the excitement for me is so awesome to see as an Oilers fan.
For me, and this one is a personal one, but my favorite Oilers memory of the year is the Nation vacation in Vegas. I think, it came right at the end of the pandemic. It was a ton of fun for me to get to meet some of the people who listen to this pod a lot. I mean, Surveyor Brett was there, Matt Jones, Danger Suede. I'm probably leaving a bunch of them out, but I had so much fun with everyone on that trip, getting to watch the Oilers in Vegas, our high five line, all that stuff. The Nation vacation down to Vegas is without a doubt the highlight of the year for me.
My favorite part of the Nation vacation in Vegas, Tyler, was when I found a young Tyler Yaremchuk on the floor of New York, and we had been in Vegas about 6 hours, and he said, well, I just spent my weekend's budget on night one. I was like, all right, we're back.
I loved the high five line.
Yeah, that was great.
That was great. That high five line going into T-Mobile, the walk up there. We must have high five like 4 million people. Very like right on the eve of like the pandemic, like button being pushed.
The high five line was something, but then I also think of just after the game, the Oilers lost. We were all a little bit bummed out about it, but then we made our way down to Fremont Street and saw a cover band and started a dance party, and it was just that's what those Nation vacations are all about. No matter what actually happens, it's just having a great time together, and it was so much fun. Like Jay, for me, one of the memories that I have most about this Nation vacation is us being at Fremont Street and Jay cruising around with a glass of red wine. And I'm like, where the fuck did that even come from? And it was just a wine guy. And then that turned into a dance party. And then it turned into a craps party. And we ended up having a great night before ending up in a pink limo found by Big Mike, our CTO.
Yeah.
Well, God love Lisa Stepanko.
Yes,
she was running around. She had a backpack full of wine. So we were quickly wine buddies. So I had a glass full of wine, walking around, promenading, if you will, around Vegas, like a gentleman living his best life.
It really was.
Charles, you got a memory before we get to Hastings?
Yeah, mine's super quick because I know we're supposed to get to in 3 minutes ago. But my memory is same thing. That one game, I was sitting in the Camrose Hotel and Casino with my novice hockey team and the parents. And the parents had just put all the kids in a room with another one of the parents just to watch a movie. We went down to the casino to throw some dice and to play some cards. And that's when we saw a goalie scrap in the Battle of Alberta. And it was just a great, great time because as you know, we had the goalie that scrapped kids on my team, and to see them going crazy and stuff, like it was really, really awesome. And it made me realize how, connected with hockey that my sons were becoming, and that just we were all becoming as like a family, and how I had worked really hard to make it important by buying Panini cards and making outdoor rinks and just kind of putting on hockey in the background, hoping that they would gravitate towards it. And then when they did, and I didn't have to try anymore, it was amazing. And I just really fucking want that back. So we've tried to do our best to keep it together. Like playing the boys in the bus with them, but so yes, that's a great memory from last year. But the best part about it is knowing that I have so many more years to do that.
Oh yeah.
And with those boys, and that they're now, without even being prompted, super invested in it. Like they want to go play hockey on the outdoor rink all the time. And I don't even have to push them. And I look out the window and they're playing games that they've made up. It's great, man. So that was kind of a moment. I don't know what it was, but it was kind of a moment. So that
I love it.
It was good.
Yeah,
it was good.
That's a tough one to transition off of, but I will, as I do, firmly and rigidly to our friend Scott Hastings from OddsShark. OddsShark is your spot for
what's your number? What's your number here, Tyler?
Like that, it wasn't it wasn't a soft transition, is what I'm saying. That's like a radio term to firmly transition.
It sounds like you have a firm 8 going on.
A rigid 8, perhaps.
Yeah, a rigid 8.
I like how Scott Hastings just has to join in the middle of this nonsense sometimes. But Scott, how's it going?
Good, fellas. What's up?
We have to ask Scott what his favorite Oiler memory is of 2020.
No, I don't need to ask Scott his favorite Oilers memory, but that's where I was going to go with first. Is looking back on 2020, do you have a favorite sports memory, Scott?
Yeah, so you guys know that I'm a pretty big combat sports fan, so it's crazy. I had to even look it up that it was 2020 because this year has felt so odd. But the Tyson Fury Deontay Wilder fight rematch in February, that was a tremendous fight. You know, Tyson Fury said he was going to come out and finish Deontay Wilder, and he did exactly what he said. So that one really stands out for me. But way back in February, holy cow!
Way back in February, people fell in love with that guy too, right after that fight.
Oh, he's such a beauty, and he talks so much trash, but he's got that weird, the English accent. But it's very intriguing. And then comes out to Crazy by Patsy Cline. Like, this guy's about to go into war with a guy that's knocked out 47 guys, and he's coming out on a throne to Crazy by Patsy Cline. So, what a great moment.
So, would you say 2021, the guy to watch for is Adesanya with the way that he acts?
Yeah, Adesanya is absolutely intriguing, and he's going up a weight division, of course, chasing the John Jones fight. He's going to fight Jan Blachowicz, and if he wins that one, it shapes up for a John Jones fight. The two have been going at it for the better part of this year, so lots of fun.
He absolutely blew me away. I didn't know much about him, but that last fight that he had in August absolutely blew me away, man. I've never seen anything like it. He's crazy. He's like super good. So I'm excited to see where he goes.
The guy that knocked him out in kickboxing is just in his early stages of his MMA career, so keep an eye out for him too. He's just in Cage Warriors right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. To end off our podcast today, Scott, I'm going to ask the rest of the guys for their sports New Year's resolution. But for you, a betting New Year's resolution. For me, my resolution, I need to cool it on the live bets. There are too many times where I'm watching a game and I got
Tyler.
I got the over and the first quarter ends and it's like 7-0 and the adjusted line comes down and I'm like, I got to hammer that. It's still, I believe, and it always bites me in the ass. So I need to cool it on the live bets. But what's yours, Scott?
I'm going to, before Scott goes, I'm just going to say, Tyler, your fucking resolution is bullshit. And by the time the NHL season kicks off on the 13th, you are going to be way past this and probably
you'll be betting on third periods, I guarantee it.
I was going to say, it's going to go out the window the first time the Oilers go down 1-0, but I'm going to do my best to stick to this.
I find live betting is easier in basketball than any other sport.
Yeah.
Because I think if you stick to what the original line is, you can find some value pretty quickly, especially in college. I find hockey live betting is hard as hell. That it's really hard. I don't dabble in the live betting. I'm pretty good at I lock in my bets, put the phone away. Otherwise, I'll be on it the whole night. But what I will do is if I hit some bets earlier in the night, say, I hit the, 5 o'clock games for you guys, hit some of the 5 o'clock on a regular Wednesday college night. Then I might play some that again at 7 o'clock and again at 10 o'clock if I've done well, or sometimes just in a chase where maybe I've done some numbers and I've got a game that's starting at 8 o'clock your guys' time that the numbers weren't terribly strong for, but I'm up a couple units, so maybe I'll just reinvest and then it just ends terribly. So I think just leaving the bets that what I've made, win or lose, that is what it is for that night, and we'll move forward. And I think I might dabble a little more into some teasers. Old Joe Osborne there, he's getting a few W's and it's pissing me off. So I can't let him take all the shine. So I might have to dip my toes into a little bit of teasers.
You absolutely should. As I say to all my buddies in my gambling group chat, it's time to hop on the teaser train, Scott.
Yeah.
All right.
That's right.
We don't have a ton of time today, but I'm going to hop right into the NFL slate this weekend. Before we recorded, or was this on the podcast? I can't remember. Today's melted into one. Jay said bet on the hungry teams or something along those lines. Right, Jay?
Yeah, the ones that are like need a win to get in.
The 10-5 teams.
Is there something to be said about betting on a hungry team? Or when I talked to Joe Osborne this week, he says no, there really isn't much to be said about a team being more hungry. But what's your take on that? Is betting on the hungry teams a smart move?
Yeah, I think it's a good narrative that people will go with. The team is motivated, or they're pissed, or they're revenge, or it's sort of, if you were actually in the locker room, there's nobody actually talking that way. You'll hear money put up on the board for hockey. That's a common one, but it's not like they're not trying to score a goal anyways. It's a little foolish. So when I hear that, it's sort of 50-50. Like the Browns are the type of team that they're 10 and they need to win. They obviously but that's the type of game that they'll lose. It's just that it's you could back them saying that they're going to be motivated. They need to win. And then they just lay an egg. Sorry to pick on the Browns. History will just back me up on that one. So I think there's a little bit you can feel more confident in betting on that motivation factor. But then you sort of look like an idiot because you're like, well, they were motivated, and that's just a bad way.
And it doesn't matter too. You have to almost wait until like morning of too to bet on some of this stuff.
Yeah, especially final week where you're going to have inactives and such. But mostly it's just that I don't buy into the motivation. I'm going to stick with my numbers, and if the numbers support the pick, I'm going to go with it. Motivation doesn't intrigue me.
Where I like to apply this logic actually is more so not necessarily on teams, but on players, on great players. So like earlier this year, I can't remember who Tampa Bay was playing, but they got like shut out or virtually shut out.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I said like my pick the following week, I'm like, you pick because Tom is mad.
Yeah.
Tom is great. So Tom is going to be chucking the rock and scoring TDs. And I was like, you go Tampa and you go the fucking over because Tom is mad. And sure as shit, next week, Tampa like blasts the over and wins the game. Connor McDavid, Oilers
in the bubble this year.
Gets their ass kicked and he doesn't score, put up points.
I don't know what to think about what you say though, because last week you said that the Bills were going to take it easy because the Patriots and all this shit, and they fucking proved they put their foots on their neck and they were proving a point going into the second half.
Yeah, but that's the opposite of what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like.
But that's what you said, so that's what I'm saying. Is you're contradicting yourself a little bit.
No. I thought the Bills would take it easy because like to preserve injuries and stuff. Like they don't need to win games right now. Like I'm talking about if you've got a great player who is mad because of a past performance, you gotta.
The hungry and the mad.
The hungry and the mad. Now.
Aren't they all hungry? Aren't they all mad? Aren't they paid very well to do this?
I agree with you, and I think Scott would agree with you too.
Yeah,
the great ones though, but the great ones like a Brady, a McDavid, like if they come off a stinging loss where
they get more mad.
They get mad, and they're going to show up the next game.
Well, I think there is actually something a little bit to that because you take like Michael Jordan is a prime example. If you got under his grill, he's gonna stuff it in your face. Tongue out and everything. But I think those are so few and far between. Like there's only certain players that can really be game changers. Crosby could do it every once in a while where he just put the team on his back. LeBron can do it, but we're talking generational talents.
Yes. 100%.
All right, let's dig right into the matchups we like this week, boys. Just looking at last week, we actually had a pretty good week. Us four here on the pod, we went 3-1. Chalmers nailed the Seattle pick. I nailed Chicago. Jay, you got Cincy. Bag Milk missed on KC. The Bag Milk Classic, just bet on the Chiefs. Did not pan out. Scott, you went 2 for 3. You nailed Cincy. You nailed Pittsburgh. I had the Tampa Bay Detroit over as 55.5, and that would have just been a heartbreaker, hey?
Yeah, I got it at 54.5. But in our Capper Cup, it was at 54 even, so I got a push there. But yeah, it's what would they put 30 up in the first 15 minutes or so to 18 minutes? Yeah. Oh well.
So our records on the year. Chalmers, you are 7-9. I am back to 500. I am 8-8. Jay is 6-9-1. Bag Milk 10-6-0. So as a podcast, we're 31-32-1. So we have a chance to break 500 this year, which is the goal I had. But Scott, you're 20-13 since joining us. Red hot with these picks. But as always, we're going to come to you last because you are the expert. I will go for us. First pick's going to go to Jay because he has the worst record on the year.
Well, I'm going to pick a hungry team, and Scott's going to be very happy with
the Cleveland Browns.
The fucking Red Rifle is somehow keeping the
Cowboys.
Oh, my Lord. I think you're right.
He's got weapons. Gallup's showing up. Gallup, the Gallup is showing up to be a marquee player. Hopefully Zeke can figure it out.
Those two games, the football team versus the Eagles and the Cowboys versus the Giants, are like one of the only good parts of this whole weekend coming up.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Those are going to be good games.
I don't want to hijack your pick or anything, but like, Scott, if we could do an hour-long talk of just breaking down every game, because I have decisions to make on these games, and there is so many factors this week in almost every single one of these games, to whether or not guys are playing, to Kyler Murray just say he's playing, like to the Bengals now having 2 cases. Like this is going to be the hardest week of the year.
Right now. If you pick the Cowboys.
Yeah. Okay, so Cowboys,
Okay, well, Cowboys, because if Cowboys win, they could be in the playoffs.
If Washington loses loses. Which is going to be so typical that I'm pissed that Dallas keeps winning, honestly. I thought we were in for a top 5 pick, and here they are. Yeah, the Red Rocket, as you say. Like,
hey, getting hot at the right time, man.
Furious.
Ask the 8th place Los Angeles Kings how they were on their way to their first cup.
Yeah, well.
Wow.
I don't know.
In the
hunt. Scott, just quickly before we get to more picks, where do you come out on Dallas, New York? Because this is one that I'm on OddsShark.com. It opened with New York as favorites, and now it's jumped that line, Dallas -2.
Yeah, I do. I actually think Dallas is getting in, and it kills me to say it. I think the Eagles will beat Washington, and I think Dallas beats the Giants, and I'm so disappointed.
They know the Cowboys are hungrier.
And their team is better. Like, and it just seems to me that just watching them recently, that Andy Dalton, of course, he missed a couple games because he had the COVID there, and coming in late, it just seems he's starting to gel with that offense, and there's so many weapons around him.
This is a real
defense is getting healthier, and it's just what a piss off.
Yeah, no doubt. This is a real problem for me because the late game is the Washington football team versus the Eagles, and if I have a bad day, that's usually the game that I pump heavy to try to come back. Even if I have a good day, I usually pump the Sunday nighter heavy. And you just said that you think the Eagles are going to win that game. And I couldn't be I could be more opposite than you. I thought that the Washington football team looked like they'd be better. What?
Yes, you're not wrong.
This is just, what are
the
we
NFC
seeing here?
East. That's the NFC East. How many times have we been the Sunday nighter? That division has been the Sunday nighter for the final week of the season, usually Dallas, and then they choke. They're in the driver's seat, winning their end, and they choke. Yeah. So I'm just watching Washington as a Dallas fan for so many years that we're
seeing
that Washington. Yes, Washington's going to be that choke team that Dallas gets in. I just feel it.
Chalmers, who's your pick this week? Because we're running out of time.
Dude, that's the problem. I have zero idea. Like, I can go through. I want to do
Washington.
Cardinals.
You just talked about Washington.
No, but they want to. Like, I know.
Hey, P.S. My pick is Dallas.
Yeah.
I know. I got it.
Okay, the Chargers are favored over the Chiefs. Like, why would I not go? Like, I know that they're not going to play, but they're still. I don't know, man. This is crazy. I'm going Cardinals -3 because I love my hometown Cardinals, and Kyler Murray's going to play against the backup. So
fair. All right. I will step up next.
Oh, you had that one, Scott?
No, I wanted to fade you, but I also like that pick.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to step up, and I'm going to take the New Orleans Saints. They are in Carolina. Just looking at OddsShark, New Orleans has been really good against the spread in divisional home games. Carolina bad against the spread. I am taking New Orleans -7 points against Carolina. Bag Milk, where are you going?
Question I have before I give my pick, Tyler, is there any possible scenario in which I do not win this pick'em?
No.
No, you're good. You clinched.
I just want to make sure that was correct. Thank you. I'm going to go...
Kansas City Chiefs.
No, not this week. This week I'm going Green Bay over Chicago.
He wanted to before the podcast until we told him Patrick Mahomes wasn't playing. Sorry.
Well, do you think Rodgers will be playing for Green Bay, eh? He wants the MVP?
Well, I've been reading, you guys have been talking, I've been reading about how Chicago, the Bears are trash talking right now, and they're trying to use that to get a leg up, and it's not going to happen.
So, okay, are the Bills not playing their starters?
Yeah.
I think they are a little bit. They're planning on starting them.
Because they're a 3-point favorite over Miami, who just lost Ryan
but they got Tua.
So Tua's going back in. Dalvin Cook's out for. There's so much going on, man. I'm so glad. Anybody that has a fantasy football championship weekend, you fucked your league up, and you're an idiot.
Yeah,
don't do that.
I was going to say,
done it last week.
you deserve to suffer because your commissioner's an ass.
Yeah.
Scott, your three
Scott,
picks.
Just Scott, I won both my fantasy football
Whoa!
I
He
won
had
mine.
a partner. It wasn't all him. Don't act like it was all him. He had the partner. They split the winnings. They split the credit.
Ask my partner. I was very.
No, it's not collusion. They refuse. They refuse to have their own teams. They have to be friends. They need to get together for drafts. They drink wine and wear Uggs.
There's no problem with drinking wine.
They're friends. I never said there was a problem with drinking wine.
We're the necessary evil every league needs.
It's better with them than without them, so that's why we don't.
Exactly. We
Let
are the
Scott
enemy
make his
you
picks.
want to beat.
Okay, we're gonna fire away. We're going Jacksonville, Indianapolis under 50 or 49.5. I've also seen. So whatever line you've got, we'll grab the under on that one. I just think Jacksonville's terrible, and Colts are not terrible, and their defense is pretty good. One of those motivated 10-5 teams. So there you go. So you could take the Colts as well, but I like the under. Let's go with we're going to go over in the Baltimore-Cincinnati game. I got 44.5, but again, whatever number you have, feel free to. What's that?
44.5.
Yeah, we'll go over.
That seems like a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that should be a good one. Since he's been putting up points, even though they're pretty awful, and Lamar has found that extra gear. So like the over on that one, and let's go with those Chargers -3.5 against KC. KC's going to be sitting a bunch of people, and Justin Herbert, let's get him a W to send off into the offseason. So I've got Chargers 3.5. Again, whatever you guys got, feel free. If that's -4,
Perfect.
have at it. So that's under in the Colts, Jags, over in the Baltimore Cincy, and -3.5 or whatever for Chargers.
There you go. And for the real life guys, I have New Orleans -7. Jay has Dallas -2. Chalmers, Arizona -3. Bag Milks on Green Bay -5.5. Scott, as always, man, we appreciate your time. Happy New Year as well. We will talk to you in 2021, my man.
Absolutely. Take care, guys, and have fun.
See you, Scott. Have a good.
Later, fellas.
That's Scott Hastings from OddsShark.com, your spot for sports betting information. Become a better by visiting our friends at OddsShark.com. They got a ton of stuff on there. Also, if you've never really done the online betting thing, they have a whole sort of grid set up there, a whole page where they show you what deposit bonus you can get, which sites you can trust, all that stuff. So check them out, OddsShark.com. Okay, we have to start. For those who are listening, if you haven't listened to Oilers Nation Radio before, you should. Also, we're recording an episode of that in like 7 minutes. So we're going to wrap this up quickly here by going around resolution for everyone heading into 2021.
Who's on that show?
Myself.
That's my resolution, to listen to that show for one time.
Myself, Bag Milk, Nation Dan, and Rick from the Pint. It's 1 hour of straight hockey talk.
For one time.
I like all four of you.
Well, there you
Thanks,
go.
buddy. I appreciate your support.
Resolution. It can be an Oilers fan resolution, a resolution in life. I don't care. What's a resolution for you guys going in 2021?
I'll start. What you guys think? My resolution for 2021 is to be a very humble Nation Real Life Pick'em winner, despite watching football the least of anybody on this podcast outside of Wanye. So I promise to be a humble winner of our Pick'em challenge. Thank you.
That's a lie. You're a degenerate gambler now. You watch football.
Well, I do watch football.
Wait until you start betting on. Like, you never bet on hockey before this, eh?
I bet on hockey and the return to play in the summer. That's what kind of kick-started degenerate Bagwell. So man. I'm gearing up for I'm gearing up for a big season of betting here, starting on the 13th.
Yeah, wait to hear about your Chuck's shot props that he's gonna be throwing our way that are likely right.
He said it, and on the 13th he's going to be betting props.
Oh, yeah. Of course, live.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm gonna try to stick to that.
I'm gonna bet. I'm gonna have for the home opener. I'm so pent up. I'm gonna have 13 bets going.
God, it's
gonna be awesome.
I'm gonna parlay a McDaddy goal with a Draisaitl goal and something else on that one. Big money.
Yeah.
Jay, you got a little resolution for us or a message to send us into 2021?
2020 was so intense. And I want to try to keep a positive mindset throughout the whole year and not let all the negativity around us try to affect me, because there's a lot of it, and there's a lot of good reason to feel negative because it's such a shitty time. But keeping positive vibes, I could get so deep on this, and I don't think I will. But just I always try to say not to let the Oilers like stress and affect my life. But I think that's just like part of the joy of living for me, is to like be super upset or on a super high on Oilers wins and losses. So I don't think I can take that out of me. So that's definitely not going to be a resolution. But honestly, it's just this is so long-winded because I haven't mapped out my goals for 2021 yet, so I can't get too deep. But just honestly, keep a positive mindset and throughout the whole year, and stay active. Keep riding the Peloton, and just keeping it good and being very grateful throughout the whole year for all of the team of the nation and also our citizens, domestic and abroad.
Chalmers?
I'm going to keep the theme of last year going, which was the stuff that I put in my body has got to be better. So now that we're not buttoning it up anymore, and I've cut back on the Red Bulls to probably about a 5% of what I used to be.
That's good.
Yeah, so we're having them very, very rarely. I still put a lot of stuff in my body that is not great for me, and I am going to try to do something about that. And the way that I'm going to start is now no processed foods, and I'm going to really cut back on red meat. Those two things for me. And I could go really deep. I drink a lot of Coke Zero, and half of the time I'm drinking that Coke Zero, it's mixed with a rye. And so I could say that I'm going to do that too, but cutting back on that's pretty easy. I can do that in a second, but it's the eating that takes the real effort. You know what I mean? Right. And so there's going to be a better effort to put into just eating better, just eating better, because man, I'm not getting any younger and I'm not feeling any better. So
it's about picking spots and establishing kind of goalposts.
Exactly.
And that's worked for me. And trust me, I'm not following it right now. I've been wearing sweatpants for 7 days straight.
He's got to do his other podcast.
I'm giving you the TV signal, the rap.
He's giving you the hook.
If your New Year's resolution is to look better, I suggest heading over to our friends at twigandberries.ca. They got the full ODR collection, the ice collection up right now, and the stuff, I'm not kidding, it's sweet. They also have orange and blue socks, perfect for the hockey fan in your life, or for yourself to look fresh. They can be your lucky game day socks. twigandberries.ca, use the promo code NATION15. You get 15% off. We didn't get to a listener profile today. We'll do that when we are back on Monday. Sorry to cut this short, but we do have an episode of Oilers Nation Radio to get to. So if you want more good hockey talk, feel free to hop over to Oilers Nation Radio in a few minutes here. And enjoy your weekend. Happy New Year to everyone listening. Thanks to everyone who listened to the podcast this year. It was a tough year. It was a difficult year. Bag Milk, you outlined it great. A big thank you to all the nation's citizens. And we're excited to keep doing this through 2021. It's going to be a lot of fun. So to you three as well, Happy New Year. Hopefully 2021 starts off on the right foot and continues on that right foot throughout the year. So thanks a bunch, guys.
Happy New Year, boys.
Yeah, Happy New Year, everyone. Thank you.
Talk to you soon.
Beckham champion. Bag Milk.
Great job on making it through the entire hour of the Real Life Podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts from.